Hello, warriors. Welcome to the U movement. I am B. You can see lots of kriyas happening tonight, head wobbles, severe pain in my mouth, and like a killer throbbing headache, exhaustion, a lot of despair at the present moment in time. A feeling of surrendering, and not in a like I surrender, more like in a like seriously, what, like I can't take anymore. I can't take anymore. And I think that's what surrender actually looks like. I don't think it looks like a nice, peaceful Zen. It's exhaustion. I promised that I would give everybody a real look at awakenings, and I apologize if this particular video comes out sounding a little bit complaining. I'm not complaining, I'm stating what is, and what is maybe some complaining. I don't know how long I've been in this awakening process. You know, there's certain dates that I can pinpoint as being significant. But in looking back, you know, I pretty much think I've been in this awakening now for a decade. 2015 is when my life started to crumble and disintegrate. So, you know, an awakening starts with the dismantling of your life. And if your life is very far out of alignment with what your soul's life is supposed to be, and clearly mine was so far off track, I was in like an alternate universe. So for 10 years, I've been going through a process of death and destruction and disease and depression and despair, and it's just absolutely a dumpster fire. Absolutely a dumpster fire. And in 2019, I got my actual like wake up call. So at first I had no idea that I was awakening. I was just going through hell. Life was pretty freaking miserable, and I was coping the best way I could with all the coping strategies that I once used. They stopped working, one after another. It wasn't like one day I woke up and said to myself, you know, I really think I would like to be a non-drinker. It was no. Drinking became intolerable. My body couldn't eat the sugar anymore because I got diabetes. My smoking, I developed severe sinus problems, sleep apnea, and so I had to, you know, so there were rock bottoms for everything that I gave up. And you know, it started kind of in, you know, it was like a steady decline from 2015 to 2019. And then in 2019, I got the message from Soul loudly in my ear to save myself. And so I began this process of unfucking my life, one thing after another. And for a stretch there, just leading up to this twin flame catalyst situation, I'm at the point now where I don't even want to use that word. I don't like it. I'm gonna say I met a soul person that was a catalyst that propelled my awakening from going along hunky-dory for a stretch into like awakening on speed, like just absolutely crazy. You know, that person had already been crossing paths with me professionally since probably about 2015 or 2016, somewhere in and around there. And but I had no acknowledgement or recognition as them being like a significant spiritual component in my life at all, or any really significant component in my life. It wasn't until 2021 that I had soul recognition. And what is that? It's like you see yourself in somebody else, but beyond that, you see the divine in somebody else. And it was like the entire universe existed in their eyes. And I had a spontaneous kundalini. And that was the most intense experience that I had. And even a lot of people might not even know, well, what is a kundalini? And for me, it was like this intense energy. I was sitting on the floor texting this person, and I was doing art, and all of a sudden I was feeling very like tingly and ooh kind of energy. And the nether regions all of a sudden were awake after many years being completely asleep when I started going down my awakening. So it was like in 2015, my root chakra just completely shut down, and pleasure centers completely shut down. And then there was this activation, and this, it was like, that at the circus, they hit that thing and it goes bing. Yes, something was released in me energetically, and it flowed through my entire body and out the top of my head about 3 times. And it was the most orgasmic and pleasurable experience. And then a few hours later, I'm like in the throes of bawling my eyes out. Like, I mean, just absolute insanity. I had no idea what was happening. It was just so out of the realm of my normal. And that triggered the awakening to begin the process of purification, like real purification and purging. Years I've been in profound grief, processing every single wound. Years I've been releasing trauma and deep into dark night of the soul, which takes years. As kundalini, it initially pierces all of your chakras, and then it goes through them over and over and over again, pushing out any energies that aren't in alignment with the divine. And this purification process is hell, is in no uncertain terms. It's been a long walk through hell. And so I relied very heavily on Winston Churchill's quote, "When in hell, keep walking." And so that's what I did. I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And more and more truth, more and more insanity, more and more 3D life situations became just nuts, just absolutely nuts. So it's now been 4 years since the Kundalini began, and I'm still going up and down. It's like bouncing around between dark night of the soul, and then some void energy, which is equally as unpleasant as far as I'm concerned. And then a little bit of integration, and you're like, it's like, oh, okay, I can see where I'm going. I'm things are happening, and this is, yeah. And then, and then you're just pulled back down. And tonight, I'm just like experiencing a type of tired that is like, my soul is tired. Like I am just exhausted of this process. It's such a blessing, and I have had a lot of blessings, but it's also been absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. And I can't even express the type of tired that I am at the moment. Like, I look old, I look worn, I am just, the pain, the confusion, the fear, the like, am I ever going to get out of this? And I've joined a Kundalini group that is run by Craig Holliday. And if you're having difficult Kundalinis, because I'm not an expert in Kundalini, I'm an expert in quitting addictions and healing a whole bunch of stuff, because my background is a healer. But I don't profess to call myself a Kundalini expert, nor do I profess to call myself a twin flame expert. I'm just a twin flame on this journey, although I hate that name and I don't want to call myself that anymore, because that it doesn't even mean anything to me anymore. You know, like, it was just, there was a person that came into my sphere and through a heart activation, started me down this path to bring me back into union with myself, union with God, which I'm very grateful for. The divine love that was given to me was an incredible gift that without, I wouldn't have been able to escape from a very abusive situation. But on the other hand, it's been horrible. It's been a horrible experience. I wouldn't really wish it on anyone. But maybe I would wish it on everyone if it does, in fact, lead people to enlightenment. So I'm in this no man's land somewhere between a life I used to have and a life that I'm hoping one day materializes. And it's so overwhelming. So in this group today, the meeting, we were discussing faith. And faith is incredibly challenging to me, having trust in the divine, even though I've had many incredibly profound mystical experiences along this journey that defy reason, and you know, they're very sacred and special to me. And I went in an instant in one of these moments where I went from not being the type of person that would ever have referred to God as God, and in an instant that word came back to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm taking ownership of that now. Because before I would have been, you know, the universe and the angels, and I had a real problem with the word God. And after that experience, I was so humbled by the energy that I was in the presence of, that I could find no other word that gave it its depth of profound meaning than God. So I started using the word God again. I reclaimed that word back to be defined by my experience, not by anybody else's written experience or anybody else's interpretations of the word. So it was like this meeting with God, and then on this journey, you're to have faith in this, and that's the extent of my experience with God, was that very profound moment. I've also had very profound many miracles that have occurred that defy logic. Things or people showing up just when I needed them, and saying just the right things, like a lot of synchronicities that have not gone unnoticed. But it's a couple of years of experiencing these things versus over 45 years of being told God didn't even exist, very much a household of, Nietzsche philosophies of God is dead, and, we're in a higher reasoning household, so we don't believe in that stuff. And so that in itself was an ancestral wound or a generational wound that was passed on, because my mother was raised by Christian scientists, and they were very devout and extreme in their beliefs, to the point where they denied science. And so she, in her own rebellion, was like, I'm rejecting all of that, and I'm science-minded, so I am an atheist, and I don't believe in this. So I was then raised in a household devoid of faith. That was almost like a dirty word. And spirituality became a kind of in the closet activity for me, where I could I could experience it. I grew up in an area in Toronto where there was a large Jewish community, and it was my favorite thing in the world to be able to go to synagogue and experience faith in action, or have sleepover at somebody's house and be taken to church the next day. I was like, oh, this is fascinating. Because none of that was anything I was ever raised with. And so here on this journey, where we, are reconnected to God, to Source, to the divine, and then we're told, okay, surrender all your ways of being, all your coping mechanisms, all your thinking, and most definitely your will. And I had a shit ton of will. I had a really big ego, in the sense of, it's my willpower that kept me alive my whole life. Being defiant and self-reliant, and I'll take care of myself and I'll do it myself, because if it wasn't done by myself, it wouldn't get done. And so now I'm at this precipice where I'm being squeezed to let go of all of my ways of doing, all of my ways of being, and have faith and have trust that, some higher power is going to materialize a life for me, materialize new whatever for me. And I'm like, how do you do that? How do you jump from being having no trust into having absolute trust? How do you jump from having like, what is this faith thing that you're talking about, to like absolute blind faith that everything is going to work out? Like, especially when the whole process of an awakening is so much destruction. So it's like I'm like waiting for more something else to come along and take me down. Only I'm down. Like I'm literally down. I like. I have nothing. I have no reserves left. I'm completely depleted in will. In will, I'm completely depleted at the present moment in time. I don't understand. I don't understand this journey. Probably because I'm in the middle of it, and it's hard to see the woods through the trees, as the saying goes. So one of my watchers that I've become friends with recommended to me, because I was having mouth issues, a healing technique that I was like, okay, yeah, I'll try, because anything to clear the pain, you know, is and she was talking about talking to those that have hurt me, you know, and that's the root of my mistrust, is because I've been hurt so many times through my life. And I understand I'm not the only one. There's a collective of us out there that has just, like, the more I hear from other people and hear their stories, and the more people say, you know, my story resonates with their story, it just breaks my heart into a million pieces that so many people have suffered. And so this technique was to use a mirror to speak with those that have hurt you. In hopes, I was trying to elicit a little bit of rage, because rage is a little bit more energy than completely flattened. And it was a very brutal healing tool that elicited a lot of purging, which is probably why I'm now just completely empty. And in seeing in my face, you know, you hold the mirror up and you're talking to these people, and you're seeing the pain and the anguish on your face, and it just elicited so much compassion, not just for me, but for everybody that has had trauma after trauma after trauma, and been hurt by people that seemingly didn't give a shit. It breaks my heart. It breaks my absolute heart. It breaks my heart because the idea of so many thousands of people out there who have suffered long, painful lives, but it also breaks my heart for all the people that have been hurting other people. You know, the darkness that one must carry within themselves. And I've seen that darkness. I've seen it many times. It's so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. I really hope, I really hope we get to the other side, and those that have suffered the most can feel love and safety and security. And I want to be one of those places for you. I want to be able to hold each one of you in my arms or on a Zoom call. You know, obviously I can't be everywhere, but I did have a dream at one point of just driving around in a minivan hugging people. That would have been, that would be lovely. So I'm trying to hold faith right now that everyone who has suffered will find their way out of suffering, including myself. I'm trying to find trust that there is a greater reasoning for all of this. I'm trying to find faith. That in another 5 years' time or a year's time or however long, I really hope it's not a 5 years or another year. But awakenings take a long time. I'm trying to find faith that we are being led to something better, something kinder. That's a prerequisite for me now. It is kindness, gentleness. When you see the despair on your own face in a mirror because of what people have done in not kindness, it's a huge tool, as brutal as it is, but it's a huge tool in helping cultivate a lot of self-compassion and a lot of self-kindness and care. So whatever energy you're in today, know that I'm sending you all my absolute love. I'm sending you all my absolute nurturance, and I wish I could just hold everyone and tell them that it's going to be okay, and we'll get through this together. We'll learn trust together. We'll learn faith together. We'll learn how to be human again together. So that's my message tonight. I'm sending you so much love. And thank you very much for all the love I get back. I really, really appreciate it. Peace out.